Hello, everybody. My name's Alison Stowell, and I work at Lancaster University Management School here in the UK. And I'm delighted to be joined by Kay Johnson, MBE. Now, Kay started and runs the Larder in Lancashire, and this is an organisation who have an ethos of food fairness for all. So thank you for joining us, Kay. And I wondered if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and also a little bit about the Larder.
Thanks, Alison. Yeah, well, I started life off I was a farmer's daughter. So I was brought up on a farm in West Lancs. And there wasn't a lot of money around, but we always had a good meal on the table. And I didn't really appreciate that until I went out into the world. And I worked for a while as a chef and then realized that that was far too much like hard work. And I went to uni and studied as a nutritionist. So for most of my working life, I worked managing nutrition programs, mainly in Scotland, but also a little bit overseas. But I always had that inbuilt sort of desire to promote local produce from going back to my farming roots, and started to sort of think a bit more about sustainability and more about environmental issues. And so I came back to Lancashire in about 12 years ago, and I set up a group called Sustainable Food Lancashire, which developed into the Larder. So we set up this social enterprise to start acting on some of the priorities that we discussed. We developed a charter, a Sustainable Food Lancashire charter. So the Larder was really developed to implement some of these priorities that we discussed. And so a lot of it is around educating people. We run a whole range of courses, accredited and non-accredited, for people of all ages and backgrounds. So we have our Kids in the Kitchen program that we run with families of school-age children. We're just starting to do some work with families of children under 5 around the Healthy Start vouchers. And we have a Food Champions program. So we train people up who then go and deliver some of the programs such as Kids in the Kitchen. We also have a cafe in Preston, and from the cafe we do our outside catering, and all of our ingredients, where possible, are locally and ethically sourced. And in the cafe, it's a hub, so we have lots of groups coming, we have lots of activities. So we try to be what the community needs us to be, and all of our focus really is around food. And as you say, our strapline is food fairness for all, and we have a belief that everybody should have access to good food, and that fresh local produce should be available and affordable to people on low incomes, but without farmers and producers having to bear the cost.
Thank you, Kay. I wondered if you could tell us a little bit more about your ethos around food waste.
Yes, a good question. I missed that bit out. So yes, that's quite an important bit. When I was setting up the Larder, we didn't have any funding at all. And I joined together with a few people who were also interested in food sustainability. So what we did, we started running events, and like disco soup events, where we would get donations of surplus food from supermarkets and fair share and farmers, and get a team of chefs together to cook up the whatever ingredients we had available, and then offer tastes of that food to people for a donation. So it was a lot of the work that we do developed from there. So the surplus, once people got to know that that's what we were doing, they would come to us and say, hey, I've got a load of pumpkins left over from Halloween. Can you can you do something with them? So quickly we'd get our heads together and go, right, we're going to have Pumpkin Fest, and we'll do it in the market, and there'll be lots of people there. So then we'd have this big event and invite people to come and try things that they might not normally have, like pumpkin soup, and we even have pumpkin and apple juice and pumpkin pie. So that's how we started, really. And it's a good way to bring people together without having, we didn't really, because we all gave our time voluntarily, we didn't really have any costs because we were getting the ingredients all donated.
Well, that sounds great, and I'm really delighted that you're coming to feed the Opening the Bin community at the research event next week. So thank you very much, Kay.